It was just silence. The kind that crushes your chest, the kind that makes every breath feel heavier. Because this wasn't part of the show. This was real. This was Roman Reigns saying goodbye. Hours before SmackDown was set to go live, word leaked out: the tribal chief's leukemia had returned. The news spread through the locker room like wildfire, ripping through the hearts of the entire WWE roster. For fans, it felt like a nightmare we'd already lived once. But for the AnoaʻI family, this was the moment they feared would come, but prayed never would. The man who carried WWE on his back for years was now struggling just to stand. Witnesses backstage described the scene as gut-wrenching, not the kind of wrestling drama you can script, but the raw, unfiltered devastation of reality. Roman was surrounded by his closest family: Jimmy, Jay, Solo, Tamina, the Usos, Father Rikishi, and the elders of the legendary Samoan dynasty. And for the first time in years, Roman Reigns wasn't the strongest man in the room. He was pale, his frame slightly smaller than fans remembered, but his presence was still undeniable. He was wearing a hoodie pulled low over his head, but you could still see his eyes, glassy, but focused. And then, the unthinkable happened. Roman pulled Jimmy and Jay close, their foreheads touching. His voice cracked. "This isn't the end of me, but it might be the end of this." Nobody moved. The weight of those words hit like a chair shot to the gut. This wasn't just wrestling. It wasn't just WWE. This was the Bloodline. Roman knew, and so did his family. Without him at the head of the table, the dynasty would never be the same. The WWE Universe didn't know what was coming. The opening match was scrapped. The lights dimmed, the Titantron went black, and for a moment, the arena was dead silent. Then, without warning, Roman Reigns' theme hit, that slow, methodical beat that usually sent shivers down your spine. But this time, the crowd reaction wasn't a chorus of boos or the "acknowledge me" chant. It was something entirely different. It was confusion, worry, and then, an eerie quiet as Roman stepped through the curtain. He wasn't in his usual vest. No gloves. No championship around his waist. He was wearing a simple black hoodie, jeans, and a pair of sneakers. And instead of walking with that trademark swagger, he walked slowly, deliberately, almost as if every step was heavier than the last. Flanking him were Jimmy and Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman. But this wasn't the dominant, united bloodline we'd seen for years. This was a family in pain, their faces telling the story before Roman could even open his mouth. As they approached the ring, the camera caught a rare sight: Paul Heyman's eyes red and glassy, wiping at his face when he thought nobody was watching. The crowd stayed silent until Roman took the mic. He looked around the arena, his jaw tightening. "I'm not gonna waste your time," he started, his voice low, almost shaky. "You've all heard the rumors, and I came out here tonight to tell you the truth." You could hear the sound of fans gasping even before he said it. "My leukemia is back." The reaction was instant. Gasps, cries, and a ripple of "no" chants from the crowd. Roman's lips pressed together as he nodded. "I beat it before, but this time, it's gonna be a fight I can't promise I'll win." Jimmy stepped forward, placing a hand on his cousin's shoulder. Jay was already fighting back tears. Solo, the quiet enforcer, just stared at the mat. Roman took a deep breath, looking out at the sea of faces. "This ring has been my home. You've been my people. And every night I stepped in here, I gave you everything I had. But right now, I need to step away and fight for my life again." The crowd chanted his name. "R.O. man. R.O. man. R.O. man." But he held up his hand. "I don't want your pity. I want your prayers. I want your strength. And I want you to remember, the bloodline isn't dead. The legacy lives on. But for now, the tribal chief is laying down his crown." And with that, Roman placed the WWE Universal Championship in the center of the ring. The second Roman laid the title in the middle of the ring, you could feel the air shift. The symbolism was undeniable. The crown was vacant, the head of the table had just stepped away. Jey Uso bent down, picked up the belt slowly, staring at it as if it burned his hands. He looked at Roman, then at Jimmy. His voice cracked through the mic. "Cuz, you can't do this. We need you. The family needs you." Roman shook his head. "No, what the family needs is someone who can carry this without me holding it up. My fight is different now." Jimmy stepped in, his frustration boiling over. Nah, we not letting this happen. We blood. We fight together. You think we just gonna let you walk out?" His tone wasn't anger at Roman, it was desperation. The thought of the bloodline without its leader was something none of them could process. Solo Sikoa, who had been silent all this time, stepped forward and glared at the Usos. "If Roman says it's time, it's time. You think this is about titles? This is about his life." Jimmy turned to Solo. "And what, You just gonna let it end like this? You just gonna let the bloodline crumble? That's when Paul Heyman's voice, trembling, something we never hear, broke through. Enough. He was clutching the ropes, his face pale. Do you not understand? This man has carried this entire company on his back while fighting battles you couldn't even imagine. This isn't about championships. This is about survival. If Roman falls, then the family falls. And right now, he needs you united more than ever. The crowd stayed eerily quiet as the family in the ring exchanged looks that spoke louder than words: heartbreak, fear, and uncertainty. Roman reached out, placing his hand on each of his cousin's shoulders. This isn't goodbye forever. It's goodbye for now. But I need you to promise me, no matter what happens, the bloodline lives on. Jay swallowed hard, nodding, but you could see his jaw shaking. Jimmy looked away, wiping his face. Solo simply gave a slow nod, his way of saying, I got you. Then Roman did something no one expected. He walked out of the ring alone. No music, no posing, just the slow, painful walk up the ramp as the entire arena stood, many fans in tears, chanting his name. Backstage, cameras caught the moment the rest of the family followed him through the curtain. That's when tension snapped. Jimmy turned on Solo immediately. You really think you can lead without him? You think you the head now? Solo stepped chest to chest with Jimmy. If it comes to it, I'll do what needs to be done. Jay jumped between them, shoving Solo back. This ain't the time for this, use. Roman just told us to stick together. Paul Heyman, still shaken, yelled, enough. This is exactly what will destroy you, fighting over the throne before it's even cold. The camera panned to Roman, sitting in a chair, breathing heavy, watching his family fracture just minutes after he told them to unite. His face said it all. The fight ahead wasn't just against leukemia, it was against the chaos that would come without him. It happened away from the cameras, away from the noise of the arena, deep inside a private estate in Pensacola, where the AnoaʻI family had gathered countless times for celebrations, barbecues, and victories. But this time, it was different. The front gate was lined with cars. Inside, every room was filled with family. Some spoke in hushed voices, others sat silently staring into space. The walls were covered with pictures of Roman, championship wins, childhood memories, snapshots with his kids, the night he returned from his first leukemia battle. Roman sat in the living room, wearing a simple hoodie, no jewelry, no spotlight. His hair was tied back, his eyes a little tired, but his smile, that same quiet confidence, still there. His mother, AnoaʻI, sat beside him, holding his hand like she did when he was a boy. One by one, family members came up to speak. First was Rikishi. His voice cracked almost immediately. I've seen a lot in this business. I've lost friends, I've lost brothers, but I've never been prouder of a man than I am of you, Joe. He used Roman's real name, something only family dared to do. The world sees Roman Reigns, but to us, you're the one who carried the weight for all of us. And you did it with honor. Jimmy and Jay stood together, for once without arguing. Jay spoke first, tears streaming freely. Cuz, I don't know how to do this without you. Everything I am in that ring, it's because you showed me how to stand tall. I promise you, I won't let the bloodline die. Jimmy nodded, his voice low. We fight for you now. You rest. We fight. Solo approached next, and for the first time, his stoic mask broke. His voice shook as he said, you made me believe I could be more than just the enforcer. You made me family in more ways than blood. He hugged Roman tightly, holding on longer than anyone expected. Even Paul Heyman was there, sitting quietly in the corner. When he finally spoke, his words were heavy. For over 40 years in this business, I've advocated for legends, but you, my tribal chief, have been my greatest honor. And no matter what happens, I will keep your legacy alive. Then came the moment no one was ready for, Roman's own speech. He stood slowly, looking around the room. I've been blessed, not just with titles, or fame, but with all of you. Every time I walked into that ring, I carried you with me. And now, I have to fight a different fight. It's one I can't promise I'll win every round of, but I'll give it everything I have. And when the day comes that I can't fight anymore, I need to know you'll carry the torch, not just in wrestling, but in life. Protect each other. Love each other. Never forget who we are. Silence filled the room, broken only by sobs. Then, as if by instinct, the family formed a circle around Roman, their hands joined. They began to chant softly, a traditional Samoan farewell, a prayer for strength and safe passage through trials. Roman closed his eyes, breathing it in. This wasn't an ending. It was a passing of the flame. But deep down, everyone knew, the head of the table may never sit there again. And that's when the camera, which had been allowed to film just this moment for the world to see, faded out on one final shot. Roman Reigns, surrounded by his family, holding back tears, raising a hand in the bloodline symbol, for what might be the last time. The moment the news broke about Roman Reigns' leukemia relapse and his farewell, WWE's locker room transformed overnight. No more backstage banter or casual workouts. This was a family grieving their leader, feeling the weight of a loss they couldn't even begin to imagine. Big names like Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and even Brock Lesnar sent heartfelt messages that were leaked to the public, breaking through the usual promotional noise. Drew, known for his tough exterior, posted a rare, tear-filled tribute on social media, saying, "Roman has been a brother to all of us. To see him face this battle again is beyond heartbreaking. We stand with you, Tribal Chief." Seth Rollins, visibly emotional during an interview, called Roman one of the fiercest competitors I've ever faced, adding, "No matter the ring or the fight, Roman has always been a warrior. This time, we fight alongside him." Behind the scenes, the locker room wrestlers gathered for an impromptu memorial, a moment of unity not seen since the passing of Eddie Guerrero. Wrestlers shared stories, tears, and promises to carry the legacy forward. Even the usually cold and distant champions, like Cody Rhodes and Becky Lynch, showed up to pay respects. The WWE Universe was equally shaken. Online, hashtags like #Pray for Roman and #Bloodline Forever surged globally, trending for days. Fans created fan art, videos, and heartfelt messages, turning Roman's battle into a movement far beyond wrestling. Some even pledged donations to leukemia research in his name. But amidst the support, there was anger too. Anger at the harshness of life, frustration at how someone so strong could be struck down again, and fury at the unfairness of the timing. Discussions flooded forums debating WWE's handling of Roman's health, his schedule, and the pressure placed on their top star. Rival promotions chimed in as well. AEW stars like Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley posted messages of respect, showing that even competitors outside WWE recognized Roman's impact on the sport. It was a rare moment of wrestling unity. And yet, WWE officials began quietly planning the future. With Roman sidelined indefinitely, the question hung in the air: who would rise from the ashes of the bloodline? Names like Solo Sikoa, Jey Uso, and even newer stars started getting the spotlight as WWE prepared to shift the landscape dramatically. This moment, painful as it is, signals a turning point. The legend of Roman Reigns isn't just about championship reigns or record-breaking matches. It's about resilience, family, and the unbreakable spirit of a warrior who keeps fighting, no matter the odds. So, WWE Universe, what's your take? How do you want to see the bloodline evolve without Roman leading? And most importantly, what message do you want to send to the tribal chief as he fights his hardest battle yet? Drop your thoughts, light up those comments, and share this video to show the world that Roman's fight is everyone's fight.